All right, everyone, welcome to the Gamer Podcast. All right, we are here today and we are doing our first installment of small streamer interviews. All right, and I tell you, I'm super excited. I put this off for too long, and the guest we have today, a lot of you guys probably already know him, especially if you've been in my community. He's one of the most genuine people I've ever met. He's got a great community that supports him. I truly believe he can be one of the next big stars to come out of the scene. And to do that, though, it's funny because we've actually been working together a little bit. And without further ado, I'd like to bring out my man, my friend, my gaming buddy, Tryhard424 as my first interview, guys. Welcome, Tryhard424. How are you doing tonight, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Clip. How you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. I appreciate you doing this with me. I know being the first is always kind of a scary thing, kind of hard to jump into. But you know what? You and I, we have a long, I wouldn't say long, but a good history so far together.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go ahead and I think we're gonna go ahead and dive on into it here. So my first question to you, I want to know not the gaming side of Tryhard424. I want to know who Kenny Whitehead is, right? I want to know where you came from, kind of, give me a little background. I don't, you don't have to give me like the sob stories or anything, but just kind of give me who Kenny Whitehead is.
Okay. A little bit about me. I'll kind of tell you guys how I got into gaming and what it was like kind of with me growing up, and then how it's kind of happened to me present. So I fell in love with gaming back on Black Ops 1 on the Wii. That's when I started playing, and my dad used to steamroll me on COD. My dad's one of those people that, he's not a person that gives you, trophies. He would just steamroll me. And so then, I'm just a very competitive person as it is. So
Right.
when my dad used to go to work, I used to just sit there and play 9 hours a day on the Wii, just trying to get better and get better. Um, and as I got older, I was really active with sports. I played baseball and football a lot every year, and I ended up getting injured playing football. So with my injury, I kind of like fell back on video games, and that's when I really started learning about like professional video gaming. And I used to watch like Scumpy and all
Mm-hmm.
these bigger
Sure.
named people, and that's kind of how I started, and I just kept grinding. That's how it began.
So I think you actually might have answered some of my questions here. First game that you ever played, first video game you ever played, because I think you mentioned Black Ops 1. Is that what you said, or
First, I mean, I played like I don't know if it really counts. I played Modern Warfare 2 on my friend's Xbox when he had
sure?
one and I didn't. So I'd play that once in a while whenever I had to like sleep over his house. I was really into Mortal Kombat. I played that a lot. I played like the original Mario's,
Yeah.
but as far as like my first Call of Duty was Black Ops 1 on the way. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I love that. It's funny because Mrs. Tryhard here in chat is saying the Wii LOL always sounds silly to me, and agreed. The
Yep.
Wii, like you said, Wii. I'm like, man, who plays COD on the Wii, right?
I
Yeah.
know.
how,
Yep.
how? I mean, knowing what you play now, right? Knowing the controller you use now. Think back to trying to play on a Wii right now. Like,
I
what do
know.
you? I mean, like, what do you?
It's crazy. You had because there was a bunch of different things. They had there was a Wii remote and you had an attachment that way you can plug in and it looked like a controller.
Mhm.
I actually played with the remote and the nunchuck in my other hand. So
No way.
I used to remember. Yeah, so I remember I used to. I think to reload you used to have to shake the nunchuck. I'm pretty sure. So I mean, it
No
was.
way.
And I remember, yeah, dude, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy.
That's wow. I don't know if I've ever like heard of someone playing Call of Duty on the Wii. That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
And to think about it, I mean, I know there was some small online community. Did you ever play online?
Oh yeah. I played online all
Okay.
the time.
Okay.
I
The reason I ask is because you know, the Wii. Whenever I thought about the Wii, I never thought about online experience with the Wii, right? You know, I that wasn't my go to with the Wii. The Wii, you know, the Wii. I'm thinking like Wii bowling, you know, Mario Golf,
Right.
you know, Mario Kart, those kind of stuff. You don't really think about games that necessarily online. Obviously, multiplayer games, but not necessarily online games. So that's really funny to hear that you were using the Wii as your source of I guess internet. My favorite COD is probably Modern Warfare 2. Obviously, I'm slightly older than you are. You know, only slightly. Uh, and so it's funny. My first video game I ever played was on a Super NES. You know what that is? Is that well before your time?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Okay,
No.
so it's a Nintendo system. It was gray and purple. Have you seen those? You seen those?
No.
No, yeah, no. Okay, shows how old I am. Shows how old I am, guys. It's crazy that the 7 year difference between when we were born is such a big difference in the consoles that we got to play. Obviously, you're a big Call of Duty streamer, right? And so it's really cool to hear that your first game was Call of Duty, right? And you
Yeah.
kind of got you're still there, you're still on the scene, you're still around on it. And you probably a lot of people can't say that, right? But let me ask you this, okay? What was the first game you played that you're like, okay, I'm good at this, and I can really do this?
I want to say, I'm probably gonna lead to World War II, Call of Duty
Okay,
World War II.
okay.
Um,
Hated
I
that game.
was, as I was getting, yeah, it's Call of Duty. As I was getting, more and more into the years, I was getting better. I eventually got a PS3. And I remember, I was telling my dad. I remember I literally sat on the bench. I grew up on a farm, and I sat on the bench, and I like next to my dad, and I was like overlooking the fields, and my dad was like, what do you want to do for a living? I remember telling him, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be a professional COD player. Like I was like straight up, like my dad was like, all right, well, like, you have to invest your own money into it, and if you're gonna do it, then this is what you got to do. Um, so yeah, I mean that like the next day, the very next day, my dad took me to GameStop. I bought a PS4, and
Okay.
that's what with my own money, and that's kind of where it started. And I was like, what, like I'm gonna be a professional COD player, and I started taking it seriously. All throughout high school. I was definitely more of like I don't want to say a quiet kid because I was like definitely I was friends with the jocks, but I was friends with the nerds. But I was definitely the type of person that would go in, get done with school, come home to just be ready to grind video
You
games.
were a gamer, right? You
Oh
you
yeah,
were you were one of the first instances of gamer, right? You know, and luckily for you guys, around your age was the time that you started seeing people. You know, the time that you probably started getting into gaming was the time you started seeing people start making some money whenever it came
right,
to video games, right? That's
right,
so that's really cool. You got to be in that time frame, and honestly, if you look at most of the top people, right, that you're seeing, you have a few of the older ones. You have a few of the older ones, like maybe Scump and stuff like that. But
right,
most of them, around your age, 22, 23, 24, right in that ballpark of when it all really kind of started forming into people making money playing video games. 5 years ago, if you turned and told someone, I make money playing video games, they're going to accept that answer, right?
mm,
It's a completely different ballgame now.
right.
And even if you don't play video games, you know that people are making money on video games now.
Oh yeah,
You know,
100%.
yeah, and it's a legitimate career path for people that want
Oh
to do
yeah.
it. And that's what I love. And
Mm.
even if it's not necessarily a career path of what you want to do, you can still make money on it.
Oh yeah.
And it's a hobby that people get to do. And if you can make a little money while you're doing your hobby, you might as well, right? So
Right.
that's what
Exactly.
I agree. Hey, we got a question from chat here real quick. What are his thoughts on esports becoming an extracurricular being offered in schools now?
Okay. I actually really like that idea. I think one of the hardest things for kids right now, especially, I mean, it definitely happened with me in my life. Is I have very old-fashioned type of parents. Go to college, get a good job,
Right.
and work and provide for your family. And a lot of parents right now have a hard time. I even remember, like, I was telling my friends' parents that I was gonna try to pursue gaming,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, I don't know, like, and it's just a
Right.
lot of the older generation doesn't really understand gaming, and you can make millions from it if you're really successful at it.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
and I think if schools started, you know, offering esports, and I think if parents see, this type of class in schools, maybe that'll definitely open up their eyes a little more to, this could actually be something that my kid can do for money, and it could work.
I agree. I agree. So, one of my questions was is anybody that knows you knows how competitive you are, right?
Right.
And not only competitive with other people, but competitive with yourself.
Right.
Like the fact that you've been averaging a 4 KD or kill death in COD and Warzone, which is very difficult. Anybody that tells you it's not is lying their butt off or using a VPN.
Right.
Is very difficult. And it's crazy to watch you on stream, and you can always tell that there's times that I've talked to you and you're like, man, I'm only averaging a 3.5 today. And I'm like, what do you mean you're only averaging a 3.5?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because you're
Right.
so competitive with yourself. Where does that come from? Like how does that happen? Right?
Hi, yeah. You know, that's a question. That's hard, man. I don't know. I've always been a competitive person. I don't like losing. I don't know. I've I don't know what it is about me. I'm just super competitive, and especially when, like, me and you've even talked about this before, like, when I know I could be better, I know I could have done this differently, and I know this could have been a better outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I always think about it, and I'm the type of person, I want to go to bed at night knowing that I gave it 100% effort, and and the outcome is the outcome.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. So let me ask you this. Obviously you played sports in high school. Her
right.
follow-up question, Mrs. Clippeus' follow-up question is would he have preferred that over playing regular sports? Obviously you played football, right, in
Right.
in high school. But would you have preferred being able to play an e-sport over a regular sport?
Um, Tough to say. I'd probably say yes. I mean, especially,
Okay.
you got to think high school. I graduated high school in 2017, so this is a couple years ago. So like when I was graduating high school, COD wasn't like as I don't want to say it wasn't as big, but like it's definitely like streaming wasn't as popular. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right.
nobody did it. So it was definitely more of like a gamble back then, and like, oh, like will I even make any money from it? And not saying that obviously you didn't make any money for playing high school football, but it was the whole friends thing, and like,
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know, it was just like an atmosphere type thing. And I think that like looking at it now, I definitely would have tried to do esports. If it could have even given me the possibility of a window to help get my name out there, or something like that, then it would
Mm-hmm.
definitely be worth it to me.
Sure, and I think to caveat off of this is it would depend on the esport that was offered, right? It's I think it's cool to see how far the whole streaming and content creation has come on just the past 2 years.
Hmm.
I would say that in the past 2 years have been the biggest jump in the history of everything
Oh
of
yeah.
gaming. And unfortunately, in the past 2 years, we've had the least amount of games ever released. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Which is kind of disappointing. You
Right.
know, and it's so as Mrs. Tryhard says in chat, there were many nights of him not being able to sleep because he thinks of how he can be better. He just wants to be the best, and that's the competitive edge that we're talking about. So
Yeah.
let me do a small little plug here before we dive into something else here. If you guys want to see one of the most competitive, one of the most honest, non-Cronus using gamers, non-cheat using gamers that you will ever see, and truly learn how to get better, you guys need to go drop Tryhard424 a follow over on Twitch. if you turn on the alerts, I can guarantee you will be thankful. You will be thankful for doing so. Okay.
Thank you.
He says thank you, but he knows he's put in the work. And it's something I told him the other day. His gameplay and his stream speaks for itself. He's just got to get the followers to come along. Chat has asked, what has been his biggest obstacle in terms of the I guess probably the streaming or getting started.
The thing with Twitch is, and I'm sure other people say it all the time, is Twitch is probably one of the worst for small streamer recognition. It's just what it is, and unfortunately, I was so late to the game with going on producing content and getting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I was always somebody that just believed, I'll hit my stream and as long as I play really good, the viewers will come.
Right.
And that's not necessarily the case. You need to be producing content on TikTok. Just saturate all the socials out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest obstacles for me because I was really late to the whole content creation thing. So, if you guys aren't doing, producing content on other platforms, you guys need to do that because I was pretty lucky. I used to, really the way I did it was I used to plug my stream every time I went to a game, and that's how I got to affiliate. But that, listen, you got to do what you got to do, and that's how I did it. But yeah.
Give them the plug. Give them the plug. Right?
That's literally what I did, man.
Yes. So it's funny you say that. Twitch is absolutely oversaturated, and they don't necessarily have a great way to help small streamers become recognized. And I would agree. And if you look up YouTube or anything like that, you're gonna find YouTube content creators saying, "Oh, you got to put out content, right? You gotta put out videos and you got to put out what people love, right?" And yes, you do, but it's again not as easy as just putting it out there, right? It doesn't just happen. There has to be some uniqueness to it, which kind of, and I'm glad this kind of segued into this, kind of brings up to what you and I have been doing lately. You and I have taken time to sometimes just sit down and talk a little bit, right? We talked about where's the next step and how do we grow. You did something Monday night that we both thought was a success. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that a little bit and give a little plug there?
So Monday night, shout out to Clip. It was his idea really for me to play with viewers and just new people, anybody that wants to come to the stream, anybody who wants to get some Rebirth games. I decided to do that Monday for the first time, and it went really well. I actually met some new people in the middle of playing Rebirth, and they, even today he came to my stream today, and so it's nice to see that new people that's coming to my stream are consistently coming back, consistently saying hi.
Right.
That you guys don't understand how much that means to a smaller streamer to see new people consistently coming back to the stream. So that really helped me, and it's a success because just to be able to and Rebirth something that I don't really take so seriously because I care more about my regular Warzone stats. So it's kind of nice to just kind of kick back, just play with the community, just vibe out. I think it went really well.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I was in there. I would say 90% of the night, except for when my phone died. I was in there, and it was really cool to see. You literally had people starting to line up to try and play with you. To stack it on, which was really cool. For the first segues into what I wanted to talk about next here, right? And that's a video that you and I had seen recently, and the video, for any of you that don't know this, is a video of quote unquote someone exposing Mutex for having a Cronus app on his streaming computer. Now, to clarify here, I personally don't believe Mutex is cheating, and he gave a good explanation behind it. But I did want to talk to Tryhard about it, because I think him and I are both in agreement that we've seen some of what you would say maybe some of your bigger creators out there that appear to be using something, I wouldn't say cheat wise, but that gives them a little advantage over someone just using a regular old controller, right? What did you think of that video whenever you first saw it? What was your initial thoughts?
Um, so to be completely honest, I've never really been a big Mutex fan, so I don't really watch him too much.
Right.
But I can say with all the accusations that go on and stuff, I don't think having a Cronus app on your computer still is a good move.
Agreed.
Um, you know,
Agreed.
that would have been one of my first things to do is to delete that. But
Well,
the fact that he didn't do that, I don't know.
you say delete. You use the word delete. And if you watch the video, he went back and deleted the VOD that
Right.
was on.
Right.
Now, I don't think he's cheating, and I want to be very clear on that. But I don't think it is a good look at all that he has gone back and deleted the video. If
Right,
you
I
had
agree.
nothing to hide, you should have just left it there.
Right. I agree 100%.
That's
I-
what worries me.
And and see the thing is, here's the problem that we kind of sit at right now.
Mhm.
A lot of people know that Warzone is just infested with hackers right now,
Right.
and you know there's and I'm Charles is a really talented player. I'm not saying he's not, but there will never be a time when you can really for sure say whether somebody's legit or they're not unless we all go to LAN and we all play. And I don't want to LAN like the World Series of Warzone where it's 150 people who have the connections, because there's people in that lobby that did not deserve to be in that lobby. I'm just sorry, but that's the honest God truth.
Right.
Because they're saying they're titling it the 150 best players in Warzone, and
Right.
I mean, there's
Absolutely
people
not true.
doing the Billy Bob walk.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if somebody's if somebody's crouch walking, they're not 150 best players in the world.
Right. I would agree. Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that if they host a tournament where it's LAN and everybody can come, they bring their own controllers and there's refs and all this kind of stuff, then you'll see who's the true top 150 best players in Warzone.
Right.
And you could see, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think that a lot of these big streamers have talent, and I'm not saying they don't, because even me, I can see my gameplay getting better and better as I keep playing, and
Mhm.
these big content creators have double the kills that I have, and I have a lot of kills.
Right.
So I just know like consistent repetition and stuff will make you like really good at the game. But I would like to see if we went to LAN, if these big content creators can still hold their own on a LAN versus just an online setting.
Sure. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And I think there are several. Actually, I watched a podcast the other day. It was the Optic podcast. Obviously, big Optic Chicago fan over here. So I don't know if he's seen it. But even some of the pros there were mentioning the fact that we got some people looking way too far left to be looking at a mini map, right?
Right.
On a consistent basis. And for anybody that doesn't know what I mean here is there's a specific cheat, and it's almost impossible for someone just watching gameplay to detect unless you're actually watching the streamer. And it's essentially the person has got another map, a Warzone map, on their side monitor that's got basically a constant UAV, right? Constantly telling them where to be. But kind of back to what I was talking about, they were referring to the fact that it's crazy that they can play the game and it's so RNG based and sometimes luck based, that they get shot in the back, and they're professional, like literally professional CDL players.
Right.
Like some of the best COD players, put anybody probably that is even watching this in a blender type of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads me to the next segue here is what game you looking forward to? You know, what game's coming out that you're really looking forward to? Obviously, I know we're big COD players, but scrap COD. You know, what are you looking forward to, man? What are you ready to get your hands on?
So, my main game, I'm sure with a lot of people, is Battlefield.
Okay,
And you know, the whole thing with Battlefield is I was told that make their time to invest years into making the game. Really hoping that it's going to be a good game. Um, my biggest fear is that people will play it for a month and then not like it and come back to Warzone or something.
sure.
Um,
Yep.
so I'm kind of 50-50 on Battlefield, but I'm just fingers crossed that it's going to be a good game. Anti-cheat.
Hmm.
I've never really been a Battlefield person because I've always played COD, but at this state of the game, options are slim pickings. So it's
Absolutely.
do you want to
Yes.
play with hackers or do you want to try to learn a new game?
Yeah, no, I agree. To add to your point, not only do you want to try and learn a new game, do you want to get out of the monotony of playing the same thing over and over again?
Right.
Which I think we all do. Honestly, I think we're all ready to step away from the same thing. And I think viewers, you and I talked about this. I think viewers are ready to see something else as well.
Right.
It's really difficult to come back and watch. Imagine you watch the same show every day for a year, right? The same show every day for a year. Can you truly say that you're able to do that? You know?
Right. And then for the next time you go to watch the show, you're going to be that excited to watch it again.
Right, absolutely. It so that's how I kind of view that is the gaming world needs, while I mentioned if they'd taken care of things, we may not be asking for another game. The gaming world needs another game. Whether that's Battlefield, whether that's Halo, to come out and to ruffle some feathers, right? To get people energized and excited again.
Right.
And again, like you said, I hope they do it right. I hope they truly do it right. They delayed Halo, they delayed Battlefield, from previous years. Obviously, COVID probably had a factor in that, but I'm hoping that gave them enough time to get it right because the gamers out there really need a game that's right now.
Right.
And I think if someone does a game right, you're going to have a lot of viewers, a lot of people transferring over just because they're bored, and if you do it right, you're going to get them to stick. Let's be honest. So fingers crossed. You mentioned Battlefield. I'm really looking forward to Halo. I know you said you didn't really do a lot of Halo back in the day, but
Yep.
he is one of the biggest supporters. Okay, I like that one. Yeah. So Mrs. Clipeuss asked, streamer goals. What are your streamer overall goals, and then what's your goal for the last half of the year?
As far as my goal for the last half of the year, definitely, with Warzone still being the most dominant battle royale right now, um, I would like to be more recognized as a pro. I play really well, and
Okay.
unfortunately, it's tough. It's one of those type of situations where connections definitely help you a lot. But I would like to play with some of the bigger dogs. Every time I've done a tournament with some pros, I feel like I've held my own, and when I do tournaments, I tend to you know bring good vibes and just good gameplay to the table. So I'd like to definitely be recognized more by especially by the end of the year. To let's say Warzone kind of dies at the end of the year. If you're kind of recognized as a quote unquote Warzone pro, and all the pros go hop to the next game, that could be a great way to just attract new viewers.
Yeah.
Warzone.
Mrs. V and Sauce dropping in here tonight. Let's see. Mrs. V has a question for you. What are some tips you would give to small streamers? And I'm going to preface this and say, don't give the standard make content. Like we talked about that already.
Right.
What's a tip that you know really you think would make you unique, or kind of stand out?
Okay. One thing that I think is really important and that a lot of people don't talk about is that interaction. Actually, Clip and I talked about this earlier. is that interaction with your chat. And you gotta treat streaming like this is your community. These people are taking their time out of their day to come and spend time with you and
Mm-hmm.
watch you play. So if somebody types in your chat, definitely try your best to respond. I know when you're playing Warzone, it can get hard. Heat of the moment. That's fine. I understand 100%. But these streamers that have like one viewer, you gotta be on the ball. And if somebody comes in, somebody new that you've never seen before, you gotta be willing to greet them, say hi, try to keep them talking. Let them know that their presence in the stream is nice and that you enjoy their company, because that's what's gonna get those people to keep coming back. That one-on-one connection with that person, that's what's gonna get them to keep coming back to your stream, and that's what's gonna help you grow in the long run.
I agree. I 100% agree. If you're under 10 viewers, your priority is your viewers, not your gameplay. And I think you and I would both agree on that.
Right.
We talked about this. If I drop into someone's stream and they got less than 20 viewers, if they got less than 20 viewers, right, and I say something and it doesn't get acknowledged at all, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm not sticking
Right.
around. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that goes for anybody that's trying to grow as a streamer. Like, I'm gone if I say something and there's not a, I understand if you got like hundreds of people and the chat's moving, like, you don't see my question, you don't see my question. I get that. But
Right.
if the chat's not moving and I type a question and you don't respond to it, you're not doing it right. You're
Right.
not. And I'm gone. I'm gonna go find someone that's gonna talk to me, someone that's gonna interact with me.
Right.
And you and I even talked about this. It might be one of those things. If you don't need affiliate status, you might hold off on it. Honestly, you might
Yeah.
hold off on affiliate, because I'll tell you, if I join a stream and it takes me 45 seconds before I ever get into that stream, right? I'm probably gone. I'm probably
Right.
not sticking around for it. Obviously, if you need to go affiliate and monetize it, I get that. I understand. Try and get as many people as you can that have subs. To be honest,
Right.
I would agree with that. But if you can avoid it, maybe avoid it a little bit, because I drop off if I don't get acknowledged, or if I have to wait a long time. And especially if I'm trying to jump between streams and I have to wait 45 seconds, I'm probably not going to jump between your stream. You know what I mean? Just being honest. So we got Frost Samurai. Appreciate swinging in, Frost Samurai. I think you're new here, but I know my boy Tryhard, actually, little plug here, working with Chicago Frost. If you haven't seen his TikTok, go check it out. It's pretty cool. Do you think the new upcoming Warzone map and the new weapons coming from the new Call of Duty will be enough to compete with all the new games that will come out? Halo, Battlefield, etc. Great question. Absolutely good question.
That is a great question. And here's the thing. I think that Warzone it really depends. It honestly just really depends on how successful the other games are. Because if people try the game and they don't like it, I think they're just gonna fall back on what they know, which is Warzone. And honestly, I think as long as Warzone produces an anti-cheat like they're saying, then people just come back to Warzone if the games fail, and Warzone will still be the top dog. Um, but if people play Battlefield or Halo and they really enjoy the game and it's a successful game, um, I don't know, and especially if Warzone doesn't make the anti-cheat, I mean, Warzone can definitely kind of fall behind and kind of become the Fortnite now, which is Fortnite's kind of it's there, but it's in the rearview mirror.
Fortnite, you're playing against AI or actual bots, so to speak.
Right.
Which is terrible. Like, that's just god
Right.
awful. Reduce the servers, make people play each other. That's how I feel. It's gonna take someone doing it right. Would you guys switch to a Halo or Battlefield Battle Royale if it's fully supported, like how Warzone has been this past year, or stick with Warzone? Personally, I will tell you this: a Halo Battle Royale, I will jump ship so fast. I will jump ship so fast. God, as long as it's done right. Let's be fair. As long as it's done right, I will jump so fast. So that's my opinion on it. But to go back to your question before, if these new games don't bring in a battle royale, I think Warzone will absolutely compete no matter what. I think these new games have to have a battle royale. If they don't, they're gonna die off very very quickly. So
I agree.
I
agree 100%.
What's your opinion on his question? Would you guys switch to Halo or Battlefield Royale?
As far as Halo, like Clip knows, I have actually never played Halo before. Never even I've seen what they like, but I've never actually played it. Never had an Xbox, so I don't know how successful I'd be in Halo. I know a lot of COD pros actually come from Halo, so that could be something I would look into just because I know, I remember last year for Modern Warfare, there was a COD pro and it was his rookie year, and he was a Halo pro before that, and I mean he was like, he wasn't the top dog, but he was pretty good for his first year of being a COD pro just from Halo.
Right.
So, there's got to be similarities like that. You don't just pick up a game and instantly you're a pro in 1 year. So I would definitely be interested in a Halo. And the same thing for Battlefield. I've never really played Battlefield that much. So, it really comes down to how good of the game that they make it. And I'm the type of person that, I mean, like we said earlier in the podcast, I'm a very competitive person. So I'm one to always want to play the top royale to prove I'm the best. I don't know why. That's just what I do.
Yep.
So whatever's the top dog is whatever I'm going to be probably playing.
So Mr. V just asked a great question, and so I'm going to edit this question slightly. What's more important to you, Tryhard, being a pro COD player? I would say pro COD player in terms of Warzone or Battle Royale,
right,
or successful on Twitch. Meaning you would play other games instead of COD and be successful.
I'm gonna say successful on Twitch just because I'm a big community person and I really love my community. And that's just me. I mean, don't get me wrong, Warzone has a huge spot in my heart. I love Warzone, and I'm just a competitor by nature. But I love my community, and I know I can. If you look at it from like a business standpoint, like Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman, he is by no means a Warzone pro, but I mean his community is like just one to want and desire for it because
Absolutely.
he's just so good at what he does, and I mean let's be real, like Tim makes more money than some Warzone pros just because
most Warzone pros. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
But the only person he's not making more money than is Nick Merckx. So
Right. So as far as like a lucrative standpoint, I would say more successful on Twitch. But obviously, I'll still take being a Warzone pro. It holds a spot in my heart, and I love it.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Question.
I think it's one of those things. You worry about getting successful on Twitch, and then once you're successful enough, you get to kind of play whatever you want to play. Right? I think Shroud said this the other day. I'm done playing. I'm successful enough. I'm done playing games for viewers. I'm playing games for myself now. Right? Like,
right.
And I don't mean that in like he's abandoned his community. What I mean by that is he doesn't feel the need to chase the viewership. You know what I mean? He knows that his community is going to be there with him, and that's who he relies on, and he's going to go enjoy himself and be a good person at what he wants to do. Right. And I think we all strive to have that success one day. It's somehow actually gone well over. I told Tryhard 30 minutes, and we're at an hour and 7 minutes right now. So I don't want to keep him very much longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Let him get to his significant other, Mrs. Tryhard, out there, and go spend the night with her. But again, I do want to say thank you for coming out to this podcast. For everyone out there, honestly, it was wildly fun, and I'm excited to do it again. To be honest with you, I'll probably put a hard stop at like maybe 45 minutes next time, just so that it doesn't drag on. But it's great to get questions from the community. Great doing this for you all. Welcome to the Gamer Podcast, and we're excited to be doing this some more. So appreciate, as he said, thanks for answering questions. Try hard. Appreciate the follow, Frost Samurai. And I'll tell you what, guys, give Tryhard some love. If you aren't following him yet, which I'm sure you all are because he's a goat. But if you aren't following him yet, get over there, drop a follow. Go play some Rebirth with him on Monday nights. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. And I'll tell you what, guys, have a fantastic evening, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Gamer Pod Show.